Hello, my name is Pamela Stokes Eggleston, and welcome to You Good, an engaging podcast that delves into the realm of Black wellness. I'm joined by my co-host, Onika Mays, and together we welcome you to the podcast, a space for meaningful conversations, fresh perspectives, a place for us. The You Good podcast is a love letter to our community and an invitation to connect, share, grow, and heal together. We're glad you're here, and we've got a lot to tell you. Bre Scullark's journey from the spotlight of America's Next Top Model to a life dedicated to transformative healing showcases her unwavering belief in the profound impact of empathy, mindfulness, and connection in addressing trauma. Bre is a passionate trauma specialist and yoga instructor whose heart-driven mission is to foster healing and resilience in some of society's most vulnerable populations. With a rich background in sociology, Bre has dedicated her life to bringing transformative mindfulness practices to correctional facilities, including Rikers Island, where she empowers both inmates and correctional officers through the power of trauma-informed care and emotional resilience. This innovative program has become a sanctuary for those caught in the challenging dynamics of incarceration, providing a pathway to self-discovery and healing. Understanding the unique circumstances faced by incarcerated individuals and correctional staff who support them, Bre's work transcends traditional boundaries. She creates safe, nurturing spaces where emotional regulation and self-development can flourish, honing in on deeper connections that promote mental well-being. Through heartfelt efforts, Bre champions the belief that every individual, behind bars or not, deserves a chance to heal, grow, and reclaim their power.
Hey
Hello,
everyone.
hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I am so happy to be here with you, Bre. And just for full transparency, Bre and I know each other. We've known each other, I think, since 2013. And I think we officially met. I was going back in my memory to figure it out, but I think it was at the Broome Street Temple in Manhattan for
Yes.
a training. You were
Yes.
there talking about your own story during the training.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been one of my first times co-facilitating with a nonprofit that we were both involved in, because we used to teach yoga together at Rikers and other jails in New York City. And I'm so excited too, because Pam has also done work in jails and prisons. And so like the three of us feel like we're really connected that way. But today we're just talking about like what it means to be in a toxic environment and how do we keep ourselves well as women, as Black women, as queer women. What does that look like, and how do we find our joy? So I'm so happy you're here, Bre.
Thank you for having me. I love you. I love you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate it.
What does it feel like inside your body, and what are some ways that you've like taken care of that?
I think my body responds to toxicity in different ways, right? So growing up, I'm born and raised in Harlem, New York, and wellness wasn't really a popular thing. You just kind of pulled yourself up by your bootstraps and kind of kept it going, right? And I think as I walked into womanhood and I started to identify what things felt like and naming them, right? Because I had no vocabulary growing up. Uh, I feel the anxiety, right? And where is that in my body? I feel it in my chest. My chest immediately gets tight when something isn't right. If things are overwhelming, I'll start to feel dizzy or lightheaded. Um, that pit of the stomach, kind of that drop in the stomach is almost like, I don't know if you've ever been on a roller coaster, and that dip, that is what my stomach will start to feel like, right? I will say now, entering my 40s, it does feel different. And maybe I've just learned different or a healthier like coping mechanisms, right? And so Do I feel it the same intensity today that I did it, let's say in my 20s or my teens? No. Today I may notice like I may cough, or like my voice may be a little shaky, or I'll start to drag my feet to do things, right? That is the procrastination. I'll start to procrastinate when it's time to meet deadlines or get things done. I'm like, okay, maybe not right now, right? Or there's the running home to sit there and watch television and just kind of disconnect from the day. All those things tell me that my body is dysregulated, right? It's looking from some sort of reprieve, some sort of rest. So do I feel it in my body, sweaty palms, and and my chest kind of getting tight the way I used to when I was younger? No, but is it still there? And I have to pay a deeper attention to it? Absolutely. I think as you become a woman, there are so many things on your plate that you don't really get the opportunity to sit and breathe the same way I would if I was in my 20s and I wasn't a mom and I didn't have a career, right? Today, it's more in my reaction to the toxicity, me wanting to disconnect, me wanting to lay down, sleep an extra hours, take days off. All those things are my body saying to me, it's dysregulated and we need to stop. We need to break.
Can you tell us a little bit about your wellness journey, like when it started and where you are now?
I didn't know I had a journey in wellness. Um, at the time, I was learning how to survive. And survival has looked different for me throughout the years, right? Um, I spent most of my teenage years in court fighting a sexual assault case that happened to me as a girl. And so there was no wellness for me at that time. It was results. We need a conviction. In my 20s, I entered the entertainment business and survival looked different then. It was pretty. I had to be pretty, but there was no wellness in being beautiful. It was just performance.
Mm.
And I would say in my 30s, in my late 20s into my 30s is where I understood what wellness was. And there's no cash and prizes, there's no reward for it. Do you still want integrity if no one sees it? Do you still choose the right thing to do for yourself, for self-care, if there's no reward at the end of it, right? There's no immediate gratification. And so there is where I started a wellness journey. When I detached from that physical realm of I need to be pleased and satisfied and I need to feel good, um, and just choosing to do what's right because it is what's right within me. And that became my wellness practice. And I think what started that for me, I'd say in 2008, it wasn't anything big. It was probably just like a stupid breakup. And I didn't have anywhere to place the feelings. You get as high as you can, you drink as much as you can, and there it's still in the pit of your stomach. And I love to exercise, I love to work out. I found I was like, I want something harder. And I found this hot yoga class in Jersey City, and I was like, what is yoga? I don't know. But I need something. I need this out of my body. And I went and I loved it. And I had no one to share that experience with because it wasn't prevalent in the African American community, and that is where I'm from. Not only am I from an African American community, I am in love with African American communities. I'm embedded in it, and I'm almost chasing it in a sense, right? Like I love in your book when you talk about like the unspoken rules of Black communities, and I never
Mhm.
seemed to like cross that threshold, and it made me chase it. Do you know what I mean? Like I am embedded in it, and here I am trying new things like yoga to feel better, and I have no one to go back to and kind of like like pass notes with, like what is this, how does this feel, is this a good thing? And so from there I was set on my own, this solo journey of like I don't know what I just did in this hot class, but it is amazing and I need more of it. And I think 2008, that one class, whether conscious or subconscious, open up the door to a totally alternative path that I don't know about, my family doesn't know about, my community can't support me or give me any experience on, but I know it's calling me and I have to follow the call. And so that is where wellness for me started.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. First of all, I love how you slid in Onika's book
Because
there.
it was so good. I
It
was
was good. It
like,
was good. There were so many juicy nuggets in there, right? That we can talk about too, because we're talking about this idea of, toxicity, but also I think redemption from that.
mm,
How can you spiritually like attune or kind of level out the toxicity that comes from some of these spaces. So I think we've all had experiences, or at least you, Bree, and Onika has told me some things, and myself, where we haven't been able to share this experience, and often we haven't been able to put it in words, like what that looks like. So we know we've dealt with our own trauma, some scars, toxicity around us, but was there a spiritual, I'll say, revelation that happened where you kind of broke free from that and you felt like you were safe to share among certain people?
uh, for clarity, so we're talking about like my childhood trauma, right? Like, where did I find a space to feel comfortable to talk about it?
Like to describe things as like a Venn diagram. So often these things layer. So you have this: I work at a toxic
Mm-hmm.
place. I have childhood trauma. What's in the middle?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the Vesica Pisces of it all? What's in the middle that
Mm-hmm.
has helped me break free from some of this?
So, and I'm just talking about like the beginning of the journey, right? Like when
Hmm.
you're walking through it, I when I was walking through all of these different phases, there was no middle ground, right? Like there was just like one foot in front of the other. It only makes sense for me when I look back, right? And that's why introspection is really important, because as I'm walking through it, it's just pain. It's
Hmm.
just a lot of pain. And it seems like it'll never end, number one, right? It seems unwarranted and big and loud and bright. And that's what trauma feels like, right? To me, in my body,
Right.
I would say, looking back, the journey was always the destiny. It was always going to be exactly what it was, which is like, these things have to happen in order for you to sit eye level with someone else that has had this experience. Now we get to talk about the other side of it, but someone has to walk through it. And that is the spirituality of it, right? Like, because it isn't about me. Even my suffering, even my pain isn't solely about me or for me. I can sit in a housing unit, and before a woman says a word, I know I'm just waiting for you. You know what I mean? I can't, I can't get you there quicker. I'm supposed to meet you where you're at. That is my job. That is my job. My job is not to judge. My job is not to tell you what to do or how to get there. If you ask, I'm always going to extend a hand because that is my responsibility. However, I meet you where you're at because I know where you're at. I know what you're feeling. I see it on you. I see it in you. And I'm just here to say, on the other side of it, there is another side of it. Survive your mistakes, survive your story, so that you can get to the other side. Even in my suffering, there is leadership. I was chosen in this path. Why? I don't know. I can't tell you. That's above me. That's above my pay grade. But I can tell you that it is a leadership when you get to the other side of it. And leaders pull out other leaders. So when I see somebody suffering, it is my responsibility to say, you've been chosen. I don't know for what, but you got to rise above this and survive your mistakes. You have to, because there's a purpose bigger than you. And so talking to people about where they are and how they feel and telling them it's for someone else is totally like dismissive, and they hate it and they don't want to hear it. But the spiritual part of all of this is that this is how we connect. This is how we create the community, not all for the suffering, but also getting through the suffering. My culture, my being, my makeup is not about pain. It is about walking through it in a way that I can survive it so that I can support someone else. Whenever you have a suffering, you know, for I know my journey is about connection. When I feel pain, I know that this is a part of time where I need to connect with someone, whether it's my higher power or someone else. But I need connection right now, not isolation. And that's all it is for me. You know what I mean? So did I know then what I know now, that this is all the spiritual walk? This is all the spiritual walk. I'm a selfish person that God has put on a spiritual walk. Did I know? I didn't know, but I know now. And so my responsibility is to let other people in suffering know, oh, your walk is much bigger than you. And that's why it feels this way. Keep walking.
We will survive the story, right? And then thrive in the story.
Yes.
And then it is our responsibility to let people know, hey, you were put here for something bigger.
Yes.
You're here over here doing this, working this out, figuring things out, walk. And so that informs the work that you do with folks. And I think that's an important thing to note, particularly as we're talking about our community and what we need in this day and age in 2026, when the world is on fire and some of us are still sitting on top of the building sipping our tea right, while it burns. I mean, some of us aren't, but some of us are like, we'll move in silence. We'll do what we need to do in silence, because the spiritual path is one of introspection, right, and reflection. I also feel that the work that Onika and I are doing here on this podcast, and as we move into other areas with the movement, that you have to do the work on yourself. This is svadhyaya, right? Like this is basic. Like how am I looking at how I've harmed or been harmed or am currently harming, and what can I do to adjust that? I also think it's important to name that if we feel that there's some toxicity that's not going to move or shift or change, you have to weigh what that looks like, and then your ability to kind of balance that in the work that you're doing. We're in colonialist America doing the work that we're supposed to be doing, that we were put on the planet to do. We still have to navigate that. Divine order is removing us from the place, right?
Oh,
Because that we sometimes you get removed and you're like, wait, what?
wait, I wasn't. Why didn't we
Oh,
have a conversation first? Why would you just do me like that?
I'm
Yes.
gone.
Yes.
I'm going to sit and be obedient and listen and receive the messages and then act accordingly. For me, that's like a daily practice. Um, it's real
Yes.
because you can see in your friend, or you can at least hear in their voice when they call you on the phone, that you don't sound the same, that there's you're deflated, that something is going on. And I recently went out to lunch with a friend of mine who saw me back in maybe January, February. And she saw me, and Onika, I have to tell you that she said, "You look so much better."
Mm.
I mean, you just look fresher, better. Sometimes you have to change and shift things, even if you like something and even if you're bumping up against something, right?
Yes.
And I feel like our walks or our paths or our voyages are different. The pace is different. The journey is jagged, and we have to move accordingly. So I applaud you for yours,
Thank you.
all the things that you've gone through, and I mean, it's just been amazing, just hearing this small part of your life right
Thank
now.
you. The journey is long, isn't it?
It's long. It
Where,
feels like it's long.
where's rest?
I'm like, it's time for naps and
Battery declines pretty quickly nowadays.
so, yeah, I was wondering if you wanted to kind of share, you and Onika. I don't know if you said that you had met in a yoga class or you took a hot yoga class, and I wonder if you guys can talk about that, because I'm kind of I
Yeah,
kind of want to hear that.
well, yeah, and before Brie, you can talk about it, but what I want to ask you, I didn't know that your first class was in Jersey City, and for folks who are watching or listening, I live in Jersey City, and
Right.
It was your studio, because some things you couldn't create if you tried, right? My first class, again, born and raised in Harlem. How did I end up in Jersey? How did I know how to get there? I just knew there was a PATH train. There was this address that I had Googled, and so I'm like finding my way on the train to get to this place, right? When I realized that I am in a different state now, right? So I go to this class. And so clearly, I could never find this class again. It was one of those things. No one could ever talk to me about it. I don't know what I'm doing. So I never went back to this studio again. Right. And years later, and I want to say maybe within like the last 5 to 10 years, I go to this Jersey City studio again, and Onika is teaching. It is her
Listen.
See, I
remember when you came to
name
that
it.
class.
And the only reason I knew that that was the first studio I had ever been to was, you know how you get your little discount for like first time class? And I went in and it felt so familiar, but I didn't know why. And so then I go to put my name in the system so I can get my discount for the first class. And they're like, you've been here before in 2008. And I said, oh my God, it was this moment. I was like, this is where it started. This is where it started. Like I just randomly was like, oh, Onika, come to your class. I go to our class and I was like, this is where I started my new life. Like this is where it started. And it still led me back to my sister friend. You understand? It was just, I don't know. I thought it was like just wow, above me.
That is, I remember
Mm-hmm.
when you came to that class, but I didn't know
Yep.
the class was at that same studio.
Yep.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
there are no mistakes and there are no accidents. When I'm listening to both of you speak and what I'm just feeling in my body is just that deep comfort in my skin, and that I hear in both of you when you're talking about your journey, which can only come from walking through like real shit. Like you
Mm-hmm.
you see it and you feel it in other people, especially women, when you know they've been through something and it's not weighing them down, but it's simply a part of their experience. And then being able to share our three different individual journeys but still have that same richness, I think just also is a part of who we are as Black women.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always like this monolithic stereotype of what Black women are like or how they are. And our experiences are so rich, but I do think the common thread that you find when we just live our lives, in addition to the traumas that we experience, in addition to like the surviving, is the thriving, is our ancestral birthright to magic and to thrive. And when we tap into it, um, it is just it's so powerful, and
Yes.
it will draw us to the people that we need to meet. It will draw us to the people who we will be able to share our stories with and be witnessed. And I just think that's so incredible. And then Bre, for us to weave together through teaching yoga together in jails. And then when I was ready to leave Rikers and they were like, okay, great, you're leaving. You know, who's going to do this? Like, you were the only person who I was like, there's only one woman I know who can do this. And you're lucky that she's already on the island. And to weave together that way too. And it's not like even walking in separate paths, it's like standing on each other's shoulders and holding each other's hands through our journey. And it's just really powerful, and I'm just so grateful to like
So
be
am I.
walking along both of you at the same time. It's truly a gift.
I felt like when she said she went to Jersey City,
Trying to
like
say
she went and and maybe universe said get a taste in 2008, but you're
Mm.
gonna come back and you're not even gonna remember, and then you're gonna come back
Oh,
and be like, oh wait, there's a Black
yes.
teacher here.
Yes.
You know, which the
Yes.
feeling of that,
Yes.
the feeling of walking into a yoga studio
Yes.
and seeing somebody who looks
That
like you,
looks like
who is
you.
talking to you, say, hey
Yes.
girl, come on in. And you're like, wait, what? Twilight Zone energy, because I have been going to these studios where I have been dealing with microaggressions and been
Yes.
looked through, not even looked at, right? All had that experience. And then
Yes.
you see Onika, who's an amazing teacher.
And she's spunky and she had this big curly fro. At the time, she had her side shaved. So I was like,
Oh,
not
oh, got
only
that
is like
mohawk going.
she's like a Black teacher, but like her spirit is free. Do you know what I mean? Like, it. Here's my thing. As a culture, as a community, there really are unspoken rules.
Mm-hmm.
And they're our rules, and we create them, and we believe in them, and we follow them. And they may not go with society's rules, but they're ours, right? Until you don't follow those rules, right? And then you're just kind of in an abyss, right?
Mhm,
Like, and,
mhm.
and there's no space for you because society will say you are Black, and your community will say you're not Black enough,
Oh,
right? And where am I then? Where am I? Where do I belong? Who wants me? And so when you walk in and you see an African American, right, that feels good immediately.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is I need to talk to them.
Right.
Do they see me? Am I good enough for them?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
like my
Mm-hmm.
friends from project housing, because projects are their own community,
Mm-hmm.
and they're impenetrable, right? Like if you did not grow up in project housing, which is not the Black experience, and we have made it to be, or the ghetto, it isn't all of our experience. Do you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And so when you don't fit that mold, it's like they don't want you either. You don't speak their language either.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So walking into a yoga class and I see, I see Onika, but she's funky and spunky like me, right? Like today she may have hair. Tomorrow, baby girl might be bald, okay? With some oversized glasses, throw on whatever, talk like this. I might want to listen to some alternative music. Tomorrow I'm going to listen to some ratchet music. And both days I'm going to have a good day. I didn't know enough people like her growing up, you know? And so walking in and not only seeing someone who's skin folk, but she sees me,
Mm-hmm.
felt so good. And I was like, I'm home. Finally, I'm home to something, to someone, somewhere. I can plant roots here. I actually get to stand in all of the things that I like, and I don't have to decide on one of them, in order for the community to see me, whatever that community is. I, I get to just exist and be joyful and enthusiastic about it because she was. And there were very few of her when I started yoga. Very few, so it was like, okay, I want to lay some oaks here. Like, what do we need to do? You know what I mean? What do y'all need? Because I'm going to do it, you know? Because someone else showed up as their authentic self. And so
Mm-hmm.
therefore I felt safe enough to show up as my authentic self. And we've been riding this wave ever since. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell you what I am. I don't know. But I know that I'm okay with whatever it is that I am, you know? And it's because of women like yourselves that did that. There just wasn't enough of it. I was the antichrist in the yoga community, in the Black
Oh,
community.
Oh.
I was the antichrist, you know? And but it was okay to be that too, because there were other women just like me, and they were
Mm-hmm.
safe, and they were of service, and they were love, and they embodied love, and they walked with love in action, right? And that became my family.
Ooh.
ugh. I don't even have words right.
How do you come back from that, Onika? Onika talks about her experience in growing up in her book. Onika and I have had conversations about how we grew up and the pros and cons of that. And this idea of are you too Black or Black enough does
Mm.
come into play when you are a middle class kid coming from someplace, or
Mhm.
Onika's background, and how do you fit in? There's some people richer than us. There's a lot of people that didn't have what we had, and I that kind of energy I brought into when I started teaching. I don't think it was conscious.
Mm-hmm.
I think, to your point, Brie, I was just being myself. Like,
Yes.
how can I show up for people that come into a studio that look like me?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that this is a problem. I have had this problem. I have had these issues. I was like, what can I do to offer that? And I remember this one woman who came in. She was Black, and she was about 290, 300 pounds, and she was told by her doctor to come and do yoga. And when I was done with that class, she had tears coming down her. She said, nobody's ever looked at me in my face. Are we doing that anymore in the trauma informed? We laying the hands on the people.
But
Are
it's
we
so
still doing that?
healing.
I mean, she was really interoceptively aware of her body. I said, have you done yoga before? Yeah, but I went to this studio and that studio. We talked after the class. She was in tears, like, this is why I do this. This is why I do this. What makes somebody's teaching, this is a question for both of you, that what makes somebody's teaching authentic other than you have to do your work? Like obviously we know that. You have to be hitting the mat. You have to be having a seat, taking a seat, as Zonika would say. You have to be doing that work off the mat as well.
I will tell you a story. When I went to a yoga studio that has that no longer exists anymore, it was a hot yoga studio, and I took a class there in 2008, 2009. Before I even knew I wanted to be a yoga teacher, I was actually managing gyms at the time, some health clubs. And I was there with the guy that I was dating. And you had to write your name on an index card, so the teacher would know your name. And she saw my name and she said, "Oh, I can't pronounce that, so I'm going to call you
Nope.
Michelle."
Oh,
You see what I'm saying? Because, excuse
I
me?
flipped out. I flipped out. And the room was so shocked. And the guy that I was with he was so embarrassed that I actually said something. I said, "My name is Onika, and if you can't say it, just don't call me anything."
Mm.
And
I
the
know
look
that's
on
right.
his face, like I had spit on her, like I wasn't the one that was insulted, um, really infuriated me. And then the class was so good for me, for it being inside my body, like that was a lot of my experience for quite a while, where the teacher would be full of microaggressions, and she singled me out because I was really bendy at the time, and she told me I was going too deep. Like she like really singling me out because I spoke up to her, and she was
Yeah.
much younger than me and and I could tell she wanted to try to put me in my place, which is
Mm-hmm. Or remind you of your place.
yeah,
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
that never works with me in particular.
Never.
And I remember after the class, he was like, "You really didn't need to speak to her like that." I said, "She shouldn't have insulted me. She shouldn't have tried to call me something that wasn't my name. My mother gave me this name for a reason." And we had a huge fight about it. And I I'm surprised now, even thinking about that. Like I still even pursued yoga. I think because I knew inside yoga
Mm-hmm.
was calling to me. Like I was just telling Pam the other day, yoga found me. I didn't find yoga.
Yes.
And I guess
Yes.
maybe that was my first time to know that I would need to look past those things. But I remember the first time that I felt seen. Her name's Cassandra Rigney. She's a nurse now, but she was a Jivamukti yoga teacher. And she is one of the baddest women that I've ever met. And she was no bullshit as a teacher. She was like, "This is the practice. This is what it's for." It was no fluff. It was just all about getting inside yourself. And I remember feeling so seen. And she was one of the first white teachers who gave me an assist and who touched me with a loving hand. It gives me a lump in my throat to even think about it.
Mm.
I would never be touched by some teachers, or some teachers would touch me aggressively. Like
Mm-hmm.
they were trying to get past their own thing that they had about race. So their touch felt aggressive. Uh,
Mm.
it felt racist because I could feel their racism. But Cassandra touched me as a student and with love. And we still chat on Facebook to this day, but she really impacted me. And I knew that I wanted to be a teacher after like taking her classes. And there were a couple of other teachers, even at that same yoga studio where I had the terrible experience, where I felt witnessed, and held.
Wow. That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Resonated with me, and I went on retreat with them to Italy. I remember them actually teaching in Maryland, and when they made the announcement, they were a married couple, Summer and Paul, a married couple. And when they said, "Oh, we're moving to North Carolina," I thought I was going to have a nervous. I was like, "You cannot,
Mm-hmm.
you can't." I was like, that non-attachment
Oh,
agreement we
it's so hard.
So
practice.
It's so
hard.
hard.
Where the hell do you think you're going? Like,
Exactly.
where
Oh,
you said you could move? who gave you permission? And they are amazing, I believe. But they were like, oh, we're doing a retreat in Italy. And I was like, I'm going. Me and my friend went. And we were the only two Black people that went. But Summer and Paul they're incredible.
And
It's
it's
embodied.
few and far between, right? Like I can
Yeah.
remember the ones who really stood out. And I used
Yes.
to only go to teachers who I would get that kind of experience with. And then I would go to teachers, even if I was going to be like, I know their class is going to be meh, but then it became my practice to sit with that, right? To sit
Ooh,
with the judgment.
yes.
You know,
Yes.
I could judge a yoga teacher.
I could judge, baby. I would, and I'll call it discernment. You know what I mean?
Well, is it okay? Let's talk about the Venn diagram. Put judgment on one side,
Mhm.
and then put discernment on the other. What's in the middle? What's in the middle?
God.
Hey, hey,
He got to filter it.
we
And
got to
here's
filter.
why. Because if something's coming up for
That is
me,
hilarious.
something in my body is responding to the energy of the environment. And I have to pay attention to that. My judgment comes when I try to identify it, right?
Yeah.
That for me is the judgment. So whatever I'm feeling is real to me, right? Is it a fact? No. Is it real? Yes. And I have to listen to me, because when I stop listening to me, right, I'm disconnecting from my intuition. I'm disconnecting from my channel. And so I don't want to do that. And this is a practice. Inviting God in, right? I am very strong-willed, and I'm okay with me. Everybody else, the consensus is out, may need me to calm down.
Mhm.
Here's what I know. When I feel this, I'm like, something's not right. I'm going to need to go. I get to leave today. I get to remove myself from the situation so that I can assess. Because if I stay in it, now I'm looking at everybody with paranoia. I'm like, all right, which one of y'all? Which is somebody in this room. I don't know who it is, but one of y'all is up to something. And I don't want no part of it. I don't want to be that, because I can be that, and I have been that. And what happens is I'm isolated because I don't trust nobody no more. Now I want everybody to get away from me. I don't like your energy. Something's off. And I don't need that on me. I don't need the consequences of cleaning up what I already knew was wrong in the beginning and I didn't listen to myself. So today I take a step back, and even if I have to be in a situation for a second, I'm already planning my exit. I need to move around. I need to do this. I need to sit, keep the conversation light, whatever, and go. Because if I stay in it, the longer I stay in something that makes me uncomfortable, right? And this is not the stillness I'm talking about, but it is the judgment. I'm going to judge you badly. And my judgment never, why doesn't judgment ever say, like, wow, that's a wonderful person right there? My judgment says, I don't know, it's something about the way I don't like small eyes. It gives beady. It's giving like, I can't trust you. That's what my judgment does. It's not the kindest voice. So I have to go ahead and go sit down. And I have to put myself in punishment sometimes. Let me, go ahead.
Mhm.
Boom, boom, move now. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Because
I know they're
something.
all Tauruses.
Y'all are Tauruses. First of all, the small eyes is taking me out. People walking around like this,
Beady.
squinting and breathing, saying, look at those beady eyes. You're up to no good. No good.
To see
Oh,
the
About
white
to
a little
start
bit
some
more.
shit.
that is
That's funny.
so funny.
Kim, what is your sign?
Pisces.
Oh, you're a good person at heart. There's nothing we can do. You know what I mean?
Listen,
I
Yeah,
have
we overgive and overgive and
overgive until we
forgive.
don't, and then and
Mm.
then it's like, I'll cut you.
My mom is a Pisces. My best friend is a Pisces. I
Okay.
am very familiar with water signs. My moon is a Cancer. So, like, I have it in me too. Just the goodness of you. You need a Taurus. You need an earth sign for boundaries.
Oh
You
my God.
absolutely need the Taurus is your boundary, and you are our peace. You really
Okay.
are. Because
Okay.
us
I
on our
got it.
own, we're cognizant. We're gonna go to war. That's just who we are. We're gonna set the shit on fire. You know what I mean? And then there's that beautiful Pisces that's like, no, maybe we think about it. Maybe we take a pause. You
That's
know?
true. That happened recently with some emails Onika was getting and was sending. That's all I'm gonna
no,
say. Is that
I
not
do
true? The
it. Oh my
exact thing
gosh.
happened.
I do that intuitively. I'm like, let me run this by Pam.
Because I was like,
I
I
can't be
told
trusted
this
yet.
bitch.
Yeah.
She was like, I said what I said. Okay.
I said
I
what
said,
needed to be
wait
said.
a minute. Let's go back and look at your email and let us take a pause.
Pam said, "How'd you reply?" I was like, "I didn't, because my silence was my answer."
I love that. That's the most respect I can give you, is to say nothing right
Just
now.
to
Please
say
no.
nothing, because
Acknowledge that.
this is, oh my gosh, I was just talking about this yesterday. I used to come out of my face so quickly. I had no
Yeah.
filter, and I
Yeah.
was all impulse and also protecting myself. So when
Yeah.
I would say something, I would say something to cut. I would say something to wound. And for a long time, I realized, oh, that's not a good thing. So
Yeah.
let me not say anything at all. And so then I found myself not saying anything ever, because I was calling myself like, using discernment or being skillful, but I wasn't. I was just suppressing. So now in my 50s, what I'm finding is I also need to speak up, because there have been times recently in the past few years I haven't spoken up at all, because I didn't want to be mean, Onika. And so I thought by not saying anything, that was the work. But the work is also honoring myself and the thing that I need to say, but being skillful about what I need to say and not using my words as a weapon and trying to make somebody
Yes.
cry because I felt hurt or I was feeling something that I didn't know how to articulate.
That's so good. My mom says that to me, like, you have to pray that spirit of vengefulness off of you, and I think, very similarly, I felt consequence for speaking up for myself. There's so much
Mm,
consequence,
that's
and
true.
you watch people shrink, and I can't take that on fully, right? I know that that is their walk, but I can be responsible for my own energy, which I am aware can be a very big, very bright, and everyone doesn't, that's not everybody's cup of tea, right? And I think we're both right in that. Like, you don't have to be around a big energy, and I don't have to shrink for you. I don't want to be silenced, right? Like, so much of my story is that I get to live in my truth. I get to speak the truth, right? That may be a whistleblower to some. For other people, it may be, I just think you need to behave better. Don't come around me with all of that, because I'm not holding secrets. Secrets make me sick. So
Oh,
I'm
That's a
not gonna
word.
do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, people call it privacy. I don't live in that way. Just because for me it makes me ill. I'm holding everything and I don't want to, but I do also have to practice like that spirit of vengefulness, because immediately my mind is thinking of 7,000 different ways. Like, baby, if I open this mouth, everything's gonna stop. And it's like, even that is my ego, even that is my pride. And also, I have reduced myself to that is the only way I feel comfortable defending me, right? You can't hit, hitting is bad. So,
You
you
can
get that.
imagine that you're knocking somebody out, but you can't,
Yeah, but no, no, no,
no
that's not
hitting.
nice.
Okay.
I had to learn. So then they used to say, use your words, Brittany. So I started using my words, and they'd be like, you need to really think about what you're saying right now. That is crazy. So I just kind of felt like, well, what do I have to defend me? Well,
Mm-hmm.
how do I, and I'm still learning, like, how do I defend me? Because you're not going to like what I say. And I certainly have learned that hitting is not the way, right? Like, we're 40 now. Like, we don't do that. Insurance doesn't cover fights, so we behave better as a woman, But maybe exploring, how can I show up for myself where I feel like I'm taking care of me, right? Without it being a spirit of revenge, or violence.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
mhm.
I'm still figuring it out. I'm trying not to be quiet. I'm trying to go to work, because in a minute I'm just not gonna show up no more because I don't know what to do.
I think there's a difference between privacy and silence and boundaries. Like, I think privacy is one thing. Silence can be used. It's like, when are you silent? And I
Mm,
do think in that example that Onika and I gave, that's the adequate response. Silence can be the answer. But when silence becomes the crutch, then what are you doing? Then where's the work? Then what are you holding on to? And this whole idea of secrets make you sick, girl, that is a word. Secrets often, in my opinion, are steeped in passive aggressive behavior
Yes.
that nobody wants it. That's the toxicity.
That's my trigger, passive
That's
aggressive.
the toxicity part.
State violence works on passive aggression. Like it works on we're gonna poke and poke and we're gonna stick the finger right at the tip of your nose and you out, but we're gonna like not even yell, but we're gonna keep it right here. So when you react, you become the person with the problem and not the situation that happened. And it's such a trigger for me. And I think it is because I am seen often as being too big or too much. So when I respond in my way, my tone becomes the problem and my reaction is the problem. And then we're not having a conversation about the situation, which led me to respond in the way that I did. And it all becomes about me and who I am and how I said it and why I said what I said, and not in response to what you did, what you actually did. I wouldn't have done what I done if you hadn't done.
If you didn't done what you did.
And I feel like that is a big problem for people who are loud and do speak up and aren't afraid to say difficult things. I don't actually like conflict at all. It is not my favorite thing, but I happen to be good at it. And because I'm gifted at being in conflict, that becomes an issue.
You can not like something and be good at it. Like, I don't like it either. I'm actually good at conflict resolution. I don't want to do it. In my body, I want to run from this. And half the time it's not even that deep.
Yep. It's the truth. And the three of us are very strong. We're three strong women who speak up. So, and I think women who speak up and who have an ability to speak up and are gifted at doing it, we can witness each other and see that. And I think sometimes too, people who can't speak up or who want to speak up can often think that you're a problem because of that. And quietly hate on you, and quietly plot, trying to plot a downfall because of it. And that shows up in friendships. It can show up in romantic relationships. I was talking about in our last episode, navigating some toxic friendships where people weren't speaking up, but I had an ability to speak up. And knowing when to address it. Is this something we need to address, or is this a case for, has something run its course?
Yeah. That's the discernment piece. The discernment is know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run,
You're right.
know when to sprint out of there, right? Like when, do I need to hold this space? And often as Black women, as what did you say, Onika? Strong Black women, I go back and forth with if I want to believe that.
Embodied Black women, I think, is a better word.
Okay, I received that today. Some days I'm good with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't mean because strong can conjure that image of shouldering, and I don't mean when I say strong, I don't mean shouldering. I mean full and embodied. But you know what? Maybe I should start saying full and embodied. Women who are comfortable in our skin. It doesn't mean that we don't hurt, cry, grieve, but comfortable in this meat suit that I'm carrying around. My spirit is comfortable in this meat suit. Yeah.
I'm still a work in progress. I think we've all said that. And I feel like these past, I don't know, few months, it's a titration of where do I want to unleash the real Pamela. I mean, you guys are talking about your Taurus, but like a Pisces, they're like, what type of fish? And I'm like an orca. Like, let me, like an orca. Those orcas jacking up those yachts. It's an orca energy over here. Okay. And so I have to say, do I want to be a puffer fish? Do I want to be an orca? Do I want to be a goldfish? do I want to be a great white shark? I vacillate between those. I do think,
Mhm.
to your point, Onika, about haters, there are a lot of people that say, oh, some people are hating on you and things like that. And often that's the case. I mean, often as you rise, as you step into your power, as you step into what the universe's purpose is for you. I mean, I'm sure you've experienced this too, Breeze. Like, who got left behind because they did it to themselves because there was hateration and there was no holleration? You don't have to name the person, but in
Oh,
what
I
way?
won't, but I could, but I won't. You know what I mean?
You don't have to name because how many? We don't have that time. How much time? There's just not enough time for that.
Mm-hmm.
But I will give you a powerful take on that, right? Let's say we were to write down a list. Like I've been in a lot of, I've participated in a lot of recovery groups. And I think at this time I'm not in a recovery group, but it has a close place in my heart because it did help me to see me in a
Mm-hmm.
different way. And so, one of the things that I learned in a group was, just inventory, right? Like just writing down the names of the people that we are so pissed off about without judgment. Like if it was someone in kindergarten that really like rocked your socks, like write it down. Even as a 40-year-old woman, I still have the right to write down what hurts, right? And so naming these people and then really, really getting concise about what it was, not the story, but exactly what it was. Um, and a lot of it is just fear based, right? Like losing what we have or not getting what we want. Um and then we'll call it all these different names. We'll call it hate, we'll call it this, we'll call it that. And I think the last column for me is the most profound because it's your amends. you know Even the people who have crossed you, you can offer an apology to. And that was so powerful to me. And I was like, now, why would I do something like that? You know? But there is an amends there. And it could be, some of the feedback that I have received was like, where in your past, even if you feel like this person wronged me, right? And that's that justifiable anger about it, right? Where in your past have you done that to someone?
Right.
So the amend could really just be with you. Now live right
Mm-hmm.
so that you don't draw in that type of energy anymore. Where it in your life have, or sometimes like I'll be like, why does this person act like this? And I'm not thinking like, oh, but you did step on her toes. And so her reaction might be a little different than what you expected. But there is a part to play for all of us. You know what I mean? Like when I think about the people or as I'm saying this because I'm going through a situation right now, as I think about the people who have like pulled the rug from underneath me this week, I also think about, are there times that may have seen them and dismissed them, whether it was a hello,
Mm-hmm.
where have I stepped on other people's toes?
Mm-hmm.
Did I dismiss something? Was there something that could have been a conversation, but I let it pass, like, oh, it wasn't that serious, and they never got over it, right? Like that last portion is so important to me because even if the amends or the apology or the amended behavior, the atonement isn't, with them directly, there's still work that I could do with myself. There's still ways that I could show up better or differently. And it won't necessarily change how people respond to me, but it might. But it might. If I saw them, if I considered them, or how like I still want what I want, but is there a way that we can have two wins? People could be satisfied and seen and valued, and I could still go in a direction that I'm going in. Even as I'm growing in my life, let me motion you to the light so you're not thinking I'm the star.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want you to feel blinded by me, darling. Let me show you where I got my energy from.
Yep.
Let me motion you to him.
Mm-hmm.
Let me motion you to that way. And when you show up and do the work, see, because then it's accountability, right? Like you can't hate on me for my results. Let me show you the work I did. Are you interested in that? Because you can't have this if you didn't do that. But if you knew the work, because let's assume you didn't know it, now you do.
Right.
And so now it's your choice not to show up and grow up. There's no need to do this to me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's like there's always some way that I could show up in a stronger way. I don't always know it, but I'm always open to it.
Mm. That's a whole
That's a
book.
whole. You gonna write it?
We need to write it. I think we need to start talking about when you're going to write your book. That's what we need to talk
Yes,
about.
because
Um,
Onika and I have books. So when's your book coming out?
You know what's so funny? I went to this town hall meeting and I was advocating for the rights of the people. And this man came up to me and he's really like prominent in like advocacy work. And I was like, yeah, and I work at Rikers and this is what I want to do. He was like, honey, you're not gonna stay there long. Write your book now. And I was so offended. All I told you was my name, and you told me the trajectory of my path of my life. And I was like, I vow never to write a book. I am going to fight just to prove to this man that you don't know me. Quite possibly, I'm thinking about getting this book together. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
Good. And you need to be.
I'm thinking.
Everybody has a story. And the world needs it. The world needs to know.
The world needs all of our stories. I feel like every single Black woman in the world right now needs to write a book and to write their story. More than ever, with our stories trying to be erased, with our history trying to be erased.
That's
Putting
true.
these words down and having a physical manifestation of your word is not just your responsibility, but our responsibility to the people who come after us.
Yes.
And when we're ancestors, so people have a way to touch our legacy. If they don't have the ability to call out to us when we're beyond the veil, I don't even see my book now as being something that I did. I think it's something for people going forward.
Mm,
Even if there's just one sentence that resonates and sparks them to put down their words for somebody else.
mm.
I love that, Onika.
I do too. Yeah. I'm like, okay. All right.
I think it Layla Saad who said that we're ancestors in training. Um,
Ah.
I love that.
really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm in my 50s, I really feel that now. Like I'm not I'm not just doing my work isn't just for me. It's for so when, I'm gone, Luca and Pia can call out to me and I will have done all of the work that I need to do so I'm accessible to them.
Yes.
So they can say like, when I call out on my ancestors as I do every morning that they will hear that they will be prepped to hear my response.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. Ancestors in training.
Mhm. It's
Well,
a
I'm a wild one. You know what I mean? So I don't know who I'm gonna be assigned to when this journey is up on the physical realm for me, but whomever I have, we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a good time.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I
Yeah, I
love
love that. I
I
love it. Share your story in whatever way. Whatever way. I was writing articles. I wrote something
Mhm.
for Yoga Journal. I wrote for so start where you start. Get your feet out there, and it could be your own blog, it could be wherever. And then it'll shape how you want to narrate your own tale and what you want to share to the world. Oh, it'll give you insight.
and
Okay.
Yeah, that would be my unsolicited advice. You didn't ask, but
But I take it. I
okay.
will take it. Yeah. I
I
will take
started
it.
with the yoga posts, writing about going inside at Rikers. I think that was when I first started to say, like, maybe there's something here, just writing about class that happened at Rikers or MDC or wherever I was. And that became a way of me putting something down. Or even social media was a really
Mhm.
beautiful way of documenting and finding my voice and saying, oh, and not that you do it for likes, but when you write something and something lands with people,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
people are like, oh, this really hit me, or I needed to hear that, and if it also resonated with you, you're like, oh, okay. And it's a way to have like a dialogue with yourself about what's coming from your voice.
I love that.
Hmm. So we
Thank
have to write about all the things, the toxic, the not so toxic, the amazing things, the joy. the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it makes us who we are,
Yes.
right? You spoke to how the adversities in your life made you who you are, and you and show up in your work and how you move through the world. I think it's important to share your story because there are other people who are like, I thought I was the only one. With the stuff that we've been
Yes.
talking about, people are walking around still thinking for whatever reason. And I think that's because we've gotten away from community
Mm-hmm.
too much. And Onika and I have had conversations around what
Mm-hmm.
does community look like. But so there's this
Mm-hmm.
individualistic kind of thing that we have ingested that are in that's in our bodies that we need to dispel. If you're telling a story of this is what happened, there's it draws more people in to say here's a connecting point.
Mm-hmm.
I had this trauma happen in my life, and look at this person. She's teaching yoga. She went to a hot yoga class. She's at Rikers. She's doing other things. She's a model. She's a mom. She's doing all of these wonderful things. I can level up and do that too, in spite of the adversity.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that.
As we start to wrap up this amazing hour together, it was just such a gift.
I had a wonderful time with you ladies. Can I just say, can we like do this in person also? Like we can just
Yeah, we
grab
can do
coffee
it.
and like,
Yes.
I would
Yeah.
love that. I
Yeah.
would love that. Yeah.
Is anything you want to leave folks with before you go?
Survive your story,
Mm.
and you'll have more stories. I think when I went through something traumatic growing up, I felt that God in the world owed me big for this one. Right? Like I survived this, you owe me. So it has to be big and fabulous and gorgeous on the other side of this because this is such hell. And what I've learned is that it's the subtle things that are the most beautiful. It's being loved unconditionally by someone. I'd never felt that. It's learning and practicing unconditionally loving another person, right? It's greeting the sun in the morning. And it seems like so cliche and BS until you start losing people, and life starts shifting. And you're burying friends that are your age. You're burying your family and your loved ones. Now I know that being on the other side is just means being alive. I'm no longer in survival mode. I live today. I live. And it doesn't mean that I'm a billionaire or whatever idea I had for what success should be. I may not have seen that yet, right? Life is long to me, but I survived so many chapters of my life, and it always got greater towards the end of that chapter to the new one, and I'm in a new chapter, and I've let every chapter take me where it needs to be. No matter how painful, no matter how far down the scale, I think what's important is to survive your story, survive it and tell it. Tell it, that's important to me. So I guess if I had to share anything, it would be that.
Bre, I love you. Thank
I
you.
love you so much, man. I wish you were still at Rikers. I miss you so much.
Pam,
Every day I'm like, do you want to come back?
I
Oh
know.
my God.
I told Pam that one.
I'm not ready to go. I think when they fire me, then it'll be like, okay, you kicked me out. But ultimately, I'm just not. I'm still shooting the shit over there. I'm still getting in trouble and getting my hands popped every single day. Still getting the rug pulled underneath me. And I show up with love every day. Like, like that didn't get me down, but you're not going to keep me down too long. I love it. You know what I'm saying? It's killing me, but I love it. I love it. And I'm trying to get Onika to go back. You got to get more light. It can't just be one light. We need light there. You know what I'm saying? Come on back. Roll up your sleeves. Let's get it.
Listen. Oh my gosh. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So Pam,
And
you're not coming. Is basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
on that note,
Listen. It ain't happening, Bree. It ain't happening. But let me tell you this: your light. You're enough. You're enough. You're
Have
enough.
you been to Rikers?
Have
I
you?
I assure you I am not.
I you are, and I even wrote about that in the book. How you
You
were
are.
enough.
You're
I didn't
enough.
get there yet.
I
I
did.
didn't.
I write about that.
You're enough. You're
And
enough for what it is. You're enough for what it is. tip my hat to you, sis. You doing the work.
I'm trying. We are doing the work.
Yes.
We are doing the work. And on that note, thank you all for listening. Like, subscribe, and we will see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.